now that we have the introduction to design principles, let's get our hands dirty. And when I say let's, it's because I will also do my project alongside with you guys throughout the course. And if you don't decided yet into your project, now is the time. You can review the four topics that we have. I think was in the first lesson of this week. And now let's jump back into Figma quickly. Here you go. And this is my file template. I also share that with you in the introduction of the course. There's a link there so you can download and duplicate that file for you to use. And here's the cover. And my project of choice is the sneaker e-commerce app. So I'm coming here to my exploration, so I don't have anything so far. And I will create a basic wireframe for the product page, so where we actually see the sneakers, and it will be just wireframe. And that's a reason why, because we didn't talk about colors, we didn't talk about font styles, font family, how to choose a font, how to create color palette. So we don't have the visuals yet. Right now, we only have what the introduction to design principles. We don't have the theory of design principles, and that's what we are going to learn here, how to put it to the test. So let's hit F here to create a frame. Figma already have some pre-selected frames here. I'll choose the iPhone 14 Pro just because that's the iPhone that I have. That's the device that I use, and it's easy to view real time on my phone. So let's rename here to let's put wire, so I can know it's a wireframe product page. You're gonna see that I like to rename all my frames, all my layers, all my components on the fly. That helps me with organization and productivity. Lots of designers like to rename after, and they just rename a few. There's designers that don't rename at all, just like go straight designing and put everything on screen, and that's it. Um, I don't like that premise. I usually rename everything on the fly, and you understand why. So right now I have my canvas here. What do I need? I need a status bar. Let's open the iOS 16. That's the Apple. So let's go to components, grab the status bar. Always go to the community, the Figma community, and try to find templates in files that already have those components already designed, especially the native ones. It helps a lot on productivity and on speed. So let me hide here this. Let's add it to the top 0, 0. Okay, let's block this because this doesn't change at all. So let's create here probably like a back button. So I use a plugin for my icons called Lucid Icons. You can also search that on the Figma community. So chevron, the back button here. Let's move this here. I would just like place everything on the screen and then start organizing based on our design principles. So this is my back button, and I need like a page title. I'll leave that here. Let's group this into a frame, and this would be my header. So far, let's leave it that. I will have the sneaker name. This needs to be bigger. Left line. Let's add here. I will need an image of the product. Let's add a few here, maybe this. This is like image. If you use command brackets, I think it's brackets, you can sort and organize your layers. Again, I also like to organize my layers top down because that's how usually we design, top to bottom. So like my first layer is the status bar, then my header, then product title, then image, then description, etc. Because it's easy for me to think like this way, and also is how the developers also create a code. It's always like top to bottom, so like title, head, body, blah blah blah, close body, close whatever. I'm not a front end guy, so uh, image. What else do we need for a product? Uh, let's see here. Maybe a description. I'll see. It's great, like text here. Like here goes the product description, maybe with 2 or 3 lines of text as a paragraph. That's okay. Not necessarily bold. Size is super important for shoes. So let's see here. Size. Oops. Size. Let's start with 8, 7, 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So this is 8, this is 9, this is 10, this is 11, this is 12. Put this here. Distribute. Let's also group this into frames, a size. I think we need other pictures of the product, like small gallery, thumb 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, almost nailed. Let's organize things here. Maybe this line. Now we can distribute this. This is gallery. What else? What else? What else? What else? Quantity. Of course, we need to say how many shoes we'll buy. So quantity, shoes like this, or say like maybe we can have icons for that. Let's add a stroke, and this would be plus. Again, let's open Lucid icons as being a plus sign inside that. Cool. Icon. And duplicate this would be minus. And let's change it here, minus. For those of you guys that are not familiar with what I'm doing with Figma, please check the tutorials that we have in our introductory chapter, because the focus here of the course, it's not teaching you how to use Figma. There's plenty of tutorials on YouTube, on crash courses, on Figma for beginners, etc. But if you already use any design tools, it's pretty much the same. And right now I will need a number. This will be 1. Here, this will be the frame, and this will be quantity. And now I think I need a button. So let's design a button here. Let's add a few. Maybe this can be that. Let's rename to CTA. CTA means call to action. And let's see, by now. Okay. Solid wireframe or not? What do you guys think? We can do better based on everything we learned so far, based on the design principles that we just learned. Let's start with maybe balance, unity, emphasis. What else can we apply here? White spacing. And I'm not talking about visuals. I'm not applying colors, selecting fonts, none of that. I'm just trying to create a wireframe already that will guide me, that will make my life easier when we are applying those concepts around color, pattern, font choices, branding, and after that creating our styles, creating the components, etc. So how can we make sure that this wireframe is ready to visual explore? Let's see here. 23. Let's see, 24. 31. So it's not aligned. It's not balanced. So let's go to 24. This should also be 24. This also be 24. Let's put everything 24. It's still not balanced. The button here doesn't go all the way. The padding here is not the same. The margin, sorry, it's not the same. Bottom to left. Page title doesn't seem to be centered. The padding between the elements are not quite right. We already have repetition because we have the gallery here, the thumbs, and the sizing. But in terms of emphasis and visual hierarchy and information architecture, pattern, movement, unity, I think the only unity that we have here is this, the gallery. We could do better. So, page title and button are not aligned. It's a little better. This should be 3, 4, 5 because then we have like 24. Now we can centralize page title. See, it wasn't centered, it wasn't balanced. Now the header looks balanced. We have 24 each margin, but we have 20 to the product title. So let's even that. 24, but now I have 15 in the gallery. Let's see what happens if we add 24. Nice, and we start seeing some white spacing in this wireframe. whatever happens if the product name, the sneaker here, is bigger, it should create a second line. It should turn create with the three dots. Maybe this is a question for the visual exploration. So far, let's give it up like this. The gallery here, totally unbalanced, 24 and 43. So we can make sure that that this is 24, 24. So this can be, let's see here, all the way. So done. So we can bring this here as well. Let's distribute again. So for sure, when we take this wireframe, probably next week, when we talk about colors and typography and visual explorations, we can totally work on these elements and start creating some other patterns here. So maybe using round corners, maybe using some visual elements on the background, or I don't know, other stuff. So I think we leave pattern for the next phase. But so far, if I hide all the other elements, you look to this and it's balanced. We have white spacing, we have unity, because we have here the title, the header of the page, we have the product title, and we have the gallery. Now let's work with this description. So again, we are creating also a pattern of padding, 24, 24 margins. So this also should be like this. So have 24 all the way up. Now let's bring the size, also 24, quantity, also 24. But as you can see here, the number one is not quite right. So I think the problem here is the font, because the baseline is a little different than the box, the text box. So it looks like the number one is a little further down than it should be. But again, let's leave that for the visual exploration, because I have a feeling that this can be a little different when we talk about visual explorations. And now I have our button. Usually for mobile apps, we tend to have a fixed button at the bottom because we can scroll and not lose our CTA. Maybe you can do that on our visual exploration as well. So there you have it. Now we have a very well balanced wireframe for my project. And I think from there, we can start doing a proper work. You can see that we have pattern, we have white spacing, we have hierarchy, we have emphasis on the product name, on the CTA, we have unity, we don't have variety, we don't have pattern. We have some patterns because we evenly space everything in terms of margin and padding. So it's a lot of improvement, right? From where we start with this wireframe. That's what I wanted for you to understand. That once you start practicing, once you start to actually like work and visualizing those things, use zoom a lot, zoom in that page, hold the option key, if you're using Mac, if you're using Windows, is Alt, and hover other elements so you can see the boundary box and the measurements of each element, the paddings, the margins. This is super important because this helps you to have a more consistent work, a more consistent uh, not job, but a more consistent design throughout all your projects, all your screens, no matter if it's a mobile, if it's desktop, if it's a website, if it's a landing page, if it's an app, it doesn't matter, right? So I think we're good here in this one, uh, and I hope you guys enjoyed this exercise. We're gonna do this for every week, right? Like I mentioned, I will also do my project hands-on with you guys so you can see how I work, how I create my layouts, how I organize my files. And if you have any questions, send a message on Slack. And I see you guys in the next lesson.